just see, and it will be up within a minute.
Okay. So the way we'll be doing, because Smita will be running through the PPT, and Vijay and Smita, both of us will basically take care of the Q&A part at the end.
Sure.
Okay.
So I will hand over the
PDF file that we have.
yeah.
PDF file that you've given us, maybe in between before the Q&A, maybe if we have not overshot the time, then probably we will play the video, just a 1-minute video. And we'll go for it.
Sure, let me know when you want to play the video.
You can skip the video if required.
Sure.
So
Thank you. A very good morning, everybody, and thank you for joining us for another webinar on Beyond Compliance, POSH V2.0 in partnership with KELP HR. This is Bhumika from People Matters, and before moving on to the agenda of the day, let me give you a brief of the topic. It has been 3 years since the law, the Sexual Harassment of Women at Workplace, Prevention, Prohibition, and Redressal Act 2013 came into effect. It is a legislative act in India that seeks to protect women from sexual harassment at their workplace. A lot of noise about getting compliant to this act was made around the time. Organizations were scrambling to get themselves compliant. 3 years hence, a lot of work is done in this space and still have a long way to go to ensure Indian companies are compliant with the Sexual Harassment Act of 2013. KELP HR has consulted more than 70 plus clients in various businesses who are now looking forward to POSH V2.0 Beyond Compliance. At KELP HR, they are constantly coming up with new ideas and initiatives for our clients who are now looking at taking this a step further in terms of what next and what more can be done for prevention to encourage employees to speak up. Let's listen to their recommendations to go beyond compliance. This webinar will address overview on POSH compliance, need going beyond compliance, not just check in the books, but in the business sense as well. Initiatives for small and mid-sized organizations, initiatives for large organizations, business practices in the industry and its outcomes. Let me now introduce the speakers for this webinar. We have the privilege of Smita Kapoor, co-founder KELP HR, and Vijay Hari, CEO and co-founder KELP HR. Smita P. Kapoor, co-founder of KELP HR, with 19 years of overall experience and around 8 years of experience on prevention of anti-sexual harassment at workplace, has consulted over 40 organizations in this space and provided solutions for their prevention of anti-sexual harassment needs. He speaks at various forums on the subject and works closely with renowned lawyers, consultants, and SMEs in this subject. Vijay Hari, CEO and co-founder of KELP HR, is the author of BCC, Behind Closed Cubicles. Vijay is works with a human resources consultancy firm and specializes in setting up governance models, prevention and redressal committees for anti-sexual harassment in the corporate world. She is a speaker at several forums on this topic and has conducted awareness workshops across India on the topic of prevention of sexual harassment, gender and diversity sensitization. Our partner for today is KELP HR. HR's flagship offering on prevention of sexual harassment is aligned and designed in order to make your organization compliant with Sexual Harassment of Women at Workplace Act 2013. KELP HR has been delivering POSH, that is POSH, at the end-to-end offerings to clients across India. It saves time for you to ask your questions at the end of the webinar. For those viewing the live webinar, you can submit your questions anytime during the presentation through the Q&A section. We will try to respond to as many questions as the time allows. We have an exciting topic to discuss, and without any further delay, let me invite Vijay to take over.
Thank you, everyone. This is Smita here from KELP HR. Good morning, everybody. Mika, that was a lovely introduction. So we're debating over a topic which is most relevant to HR fraternity now from a sexual harassment perspective. Market and serving 70 odd clients over the last 3 years, we were thinking, what is it that would make sense to an HR fraternity who has been all over this law for 3 years now? Now, something that I keep getting in every session that client I meet is that to make it more effective. While we have everything in place, we are compliant, what is the next step? Came back to us. And we said, why not discuss about that? Okay, discuss about best practices in the industry, discuss about what is happening, what are the large organizations doing, what are the mid-scale organizations doing, how we can help. Bearing all this in mind, we have come with this presentation on Beyond Compliance, POSH 2. Now, while we have 70 odd clients, we need to at least 100 plus a month. And 50% of them have this activity as check in the box. I'm surprising, but yes, that's the truth. They are very happy harping that touch wood, we have 0 cases. All compliant, we final report, we report it to the district office, we are all happy, in a happy space. Now, they break that bubble for you. You are on a ticking bomb. I'm telling all the clients whom I meet that virus, meaning something is brewing up there. Okay, please see a doctor. I mean, an audit done or get a survey done. Something is just not right. So to discuss on important aspects of POSH and what we can do to be effective. I have to move to the slide. Bhumika for me. I'm still a little time. Bhumika, the slide is not moving.
Can you share your screen, Smita, the PPT which you had shared in the morning with Deeksha? If you can share it on your screen with everybody.
Okay. Let me try doing it. With listening, and can you do that for me, please?
Can you give me the access, please?
Yeah, sure.
How do I get there?
You need to get started while I do that.
Yeah. So let me get started while we pull up the slide. So, what it is to be compliant is what we discussed. Need of beyond compliance, what works well within small and larger organizations, and some best practices. Now, checklist. So, every organization is the duty as listed in the slide is to ensure compliance. We have about it enough and more in our blog, which you can review on our website www.kelphr.com. That what is it to be fixed to get compliant. Please write to us if you think that you need to understand this better. Rewriting the 5-point checklist. A crystal POSH policy for employees detailing what is SH, what is workplace, about IC, members of IC, their contact details, their role in the organization, redressal mechanism are the few aspects. An important point. It's employer's obligation to create awareness. It's your obligation to create awareness of the law and policy for their employees. Third, very important, input posters in print locations in around workplace. I get here from many organizations saying that we are not a poster culture organization. We cannot spoil the decor, but it is mentioned in the law that you have to put up the posters. Use create to do it, but do it. Employees ensure the fourth point is that they have to ensure publicize the IC member list and contact them. Redressal mechanism published very clearly. And the fifth point is that have to do reporting and reporting at the district offices. Now, last year, couple of years back, people were really figuring out who is the district officer, where I report, what is the format. Have it all. Please write to us if you are struggling with it. The next slide. So the 2013 coming into picture, the law demands that employers take more of his role, including tracking training and employers, training sessions and all that, and that gets reported. Now, this is a of a matured, large MNC organization. They have done this. In fact, they have done this much before the Act came in place. They had done somewhere in 90s. Okay. But we have an issue here. What is the issue? New issues which are coming up. You heard about media getting reported recently, the new media companies. Okay. Without generalizing, I want to say that there are corners happening, and that some non-revenue making initiatives get off. So, as lawyers, as large HR organization or mid or small term organization, we have to abide by the law. In startup or new age setup, to get into the millions and billions club really quickly. The poor organizational culture. So, distinct aspects that I observe while working in the spaces, they don't give it enough attention, or they just do the minimum to stay under the radar. Over time, they lose the sense of keeping up, and these issues just keep coming up. Next slide. On the other hand, what are the reasons of approach? Consider a newer generation, the corporate world with so much of exposure to social media. Employees have started talking directly to the print media, voicing our organization's approach, internal practices. It is good and bad at the same time. They are not waiting in the queue for their concerns or complaints to be heard. They are voicing them out loud and clear. It's clearly seen by their actions that organizations have not done enough to familiarize employees about their rights, about their responsibilities. Simple things like what is FH is not clear in various organizations with various employees. So it's our duty to make that happen. Now, I put it by CBS reporter on Susan Fowler. We must have all read about it. In US, it is employees who are driving this change. So it does make sense, as we are in India, these employees are hitting the social media these days. Thanks to media, it is necessary that as employers, we keep our eyes open and our antennas on when it comes to the symptoms of sexual harassment at workplace and the behavior at the bud itself. The task will be to weed out deep-rooted biases and behaviors. I mean, we come with so much of biases, bringing up from a culture. It is a big challenge. In HR, we are constantly working even with schools and colleges, okay? So working with parents to see how this can be removed. But there's a whole lot of work left there. 1.0 is an encouragement and an eye-opener to come to are hesitating to take the step. Making it safe and harassment-free for women isn't about the bare minimum. It's a question of understanding your current organization culture and steering it towards a place where employees feel secure and empowered to work and contribute. Moving slide, the issues we come up with, or the questions I always come up with, this doesn't make business sense. Why should we be wasting our time on doing POSH when we can maybe run for revenue, run for a sales call, profit? Why should we be doing all this? Of course, the reason is culture. Very important. Or join the organization and want to be associated with organizations of great culture. They take pride in organizations like Tata and Birla. I don't name the organizations which they don't take pride in. And the reasons are clear. I had recently a conversation with one of my friends who was looking for a school for her child. She did not want her child to go to a school which was run by one of the top corporates because the values within the organizations are not too clear or are quite shady. He says even the school will be running same kind of culture. So people in these biases, they're sensitive. They want to be attached to the best. Social impact, the second important sense it makes, is finding senior people on the boarding everything and only redressing the case. Fair day, if it is a civil case, 3 days if it is a complicated case. Vice presidents, directors sometimes is going in when they are wasting their time resolving these cases. It. The firm, of course, need waiting to be reporting such cases to in newspaper. Every day. Today in the morning also I read one case of anti-sexual harassment in US, though, but case is a case. It comes in newspaper, and who wants that defamation? Holders would want to bet them on the organizations which is run to the court every now and then for such issues. With that, I move to my next slide on what can the small and mid-sized organizations do. Under this space, many small and mid-sized organizations are coming forward to ask for ways in which they can ensure employees are aware of sexual harassment and equipped to handle situations at work. Here are some that we, and if you look up the slide, you can see some pictures of some work done by organizations, HR, in a partner with the various other organizations. Now, we ensure that we publish the policy and share with them with an email ID which can not only complain but ask queries. Not about only that I'm harassed, so what do I do? So a question like, the person looking at me and making me feel uncomfortable, is it sexual harassment or what can I do about it? They're simple questions. So these I should be cited not only for complaints but also for queries. Credible members in the IC. Speaking up to the people who are in IC. And should be comfortable walking across to them and telling them what are they facing. If you don't have credible members, then you have lost the battle there. Attention of IC within, if possible, within every department. Or it could be called, conference, ambassadors, Sathi, buddy, anything, whatever you want to name, whatever your culture talks about. Some within the organization who employees can reach out to and discuss. Skip levels, focus group discussion, one-on-one discussion, exit interviews. Please pay attention to exit interviews. If there are separations or resignations happening from a particular group, never alert them. Please investigate. Talk of the situation, encourage open door policy. These really help a lot. Training, conduct training sessions. So, HR, we have been doing a lot of internet local languages, all Indian languages, Marathi, Gujarati, Hindi. We are doing such sessions to ensure that we reach the grassroots level. Conduct well-constructed role plays. Now, very important, people love their videos, role plays, stories. Telling is the best way of awareness creation. Manager and supervisor workshop. What a manager or supervisor do? Many a times they don't know. They don't have SH, they don't know how to handle an SH. Okay, important we train them. Conduct IC training sessions and not only theoretical sessions, but IC to give real life role play. They investigate a real life case and go through the entire pains. We do every now and then, and so many times we know it is such a difficult task to conduct, but really upskill IC to be able to manage such situations. Posters. It is very important that the clean and clear posters are put up, not scrambled with too much of information. Maybe just 2-3 lines on the poster to deliver the message. Robust regular interaction forums for building in both HR and senior employees can be conducted. So the small and mid-sized organizations can do, and we encourage our customers, clients to do. We put in effort in writing scripts for them, helping them act it. A lot of work in this space. Also, we go to large organizations. So next slide. organizations come with their own challenges. So create awareness there. The way to reach the entire workforce is social media. Okay, nowadays all the organizations have their own internal social media. Create short ad films. A lot of us must have seen this one, which is running in WhatsApp and Facebook these days. It's a very clear message. In fact, too loud and too clear message. Okay, such I say that copy and show the same thing, but maybe such kind of message can be sent. The benefit is that when it's well written and acted well, it has impact on viewers. Such videos may be clubbed with discussion forums, town halls, etc., and create a greater impact. So we run employee surveys also. Very important, take stock of the situation. Employee survey. I'm sure larger organizations do voice of employee, happiness survey, club sexual harassment part of that. And surveys really help you get the data. Use studies. What ways recommend large organizations is that if any case happens, please do the case study and speak to your employees. Maybe not, of course, don't reveal the real names and real people, but the incident and what was the action taken. So people aware that organizations, their organization is pulling up the sleeve and working in that space. Key intentions, 5 is refresh or focusing on subtopics that are relevant to their needs. Comic strips are used very largely within our clients. They love it because the millennials, they understand it better. Comic strips with serious images really creates awareness. Training, train the sessions, local languages, initiatives that the large organizations do is working towards equality. We talk about it in the next slide. Now, I have a slide where we combined initiatives all together. It could be by both smaller as well as large-scale organizations. So, any tips or tricks you want from this, I feel you pick it up. If you need any more support in running this, please write to us. We'll be happy to help. Hiring is very important. As earlier, that we are reaching out to colleges and schools to make them about prevention of sexual harassment. When we hit work with World 21 years back, nobody told us about sexual harassment. At that, many of us would have experienced one way or the other. Okay, what we're trying to do at CalPHR is tell them before they hit the corporate world that this is sexual harassment. If you experience it, please raise your hand. These are the forms where you can raise your hand. Organization culture and management buy-in. Interview stakeholders we can conduct. Online survey. Share customized case studies of the situations and recommended approach. Again, next slide. Workshop really works well. We have who's attached with us who does theatre-based workshop, and it's by the people. It really that kind of awareness. The people work on it and the people who watch it. Both are equally bound by this. So use theatre-based workshop. Next slide. Media. How do you use social media? Some etiquette needed. A lot of posters to help them. Yeah. How social media. Next. By posters and giving the messages loud and clear, is very, very important. Next, with me on the con call has written this beautiful book called BCC. I personally vouch for it. I'm a big critic, she says, but this is the book which has, I think, 14 case studies and real case studies. It's a must read for all HR partners, IC. In fact, whenever I give a book to somebody or somebody has read it and comes back, my HR fraternity, they always tell me that they want to meet Vijay because the real life scenario and they really know what to do next. So take case from this and discuss with your managers, supervisors, and then they discuss it further with their teams. It helps create awareness. So counseling cells, this really works well. Have a hearing where people can come and discuss. We have a discussion forum on KelpHR too, where people write about experiences, if they need to know anything, any suggestions. This forum can also be used. Next. With that, I would also want to highlight a couple of more things that we need to do is to diversity officers. Now, this is a POSH too. It shouldn't be stopping only on prevention of harassment. Work has to be done on setting up diversity offices. Okay? These are those things that will get more women into the corporate world. Okay? If you look at the statistics, out of the 100% who hit the freshers level, only 14% reach the mid-management level. Imagine out of 100 women who join as freshers, only 14% back and become managers, and only 5% reach the top management. So many women drop out. And what is the reason? Purely because we do not have great infrastructure. Mature organizations have gone beyond the call and create an environment which are conducive to hold back such people, retain. But we definitely have a leaking pipeline and great resources who can really turn around things. Organizations doing. So on the slide you can see we have put snapshots of various success stories of large organizations. What are they doing? They are creating an infrastructure for women to survive and excel. There are programs where women can apply for the second careers. In fact, on that note, I would like to tell you about KelpHR. We are all women employees and we have hired women who can work part-time from their homes. This is a way of giving it back to the society. Really helps these women. Women really want to do something but cannot do it because of various reasons. We have diversity offices. This well, and organizations have been doing this, and they constantly have agenda. Month on month, they have agenda. They have calendar. That what they will do differently this year. They goals set, okay, and accordingly they work month on month. They UPROAR on maternity acts being passed for 6 months. Action will go on, but trust me, we give a little bit of leeway to the agenda and they bloom. Be vigilant towards resignations. Very, very important. If you are a resignation, a group of people from a group team, please engage. Something happening there. POSH is all about moving ahead in the path of encouraging diversity as workplace. They own value to the corporate, which is quite visible. They are more sensitive organizations. KelpHR, we are working with our clients on setting up these offices for them to excel. I take a pause and invite you for suggestions, questions, or feedback.
Thank you so much, Pita, for a great session. This indeed is a very sensitive topic for a lot of organizations, and we have received a number of questions from our listeners. So I will move on to the question and answer session now.
Please do, please do. That is more interactive.
So the first question is from Apurva. She wants to know, can mailers be used instead of physical posters for compliance?
Hi, Apurva, Smita here. If you look up the law, it says, okay, I recommend that you be on the right side of the law and up the posters, but mailers you can do additionally. Definitely do it as an additional thing. But I also recommend that put up, at least you're still having notice boards somewhere, and then you put those posters there. Will you add something?
Yes, Smita. So, Apurva, very valid question. A lot of clients do ask us the same question. And one of the reasons is they are a bit hesitant to put up the posters. They don't want to scare their employees by putting up these posters. But the reason why the law specifies that posters we put up is this as a reference check for anyone who walks into the office. And since we put up in the notice boards, in cafeterias, the reason any vendor who walks in also basically in case they are impacted, they know where to reach out to. So they not reach out to them. And emailers are something that gets lost, and this is something, a reference point is there put up all the time. And also on the safer side, in case there are any orders happening, this is something that has to be there in the notice board. I hope
Thank you for that answer, Smita and Viji. I'll move on to the next question. This is from Rochelle, and it's a very interesting question. She wants to know, as per the law, even a candidate coming for an interview can make a complaint in a case of sexual harassment?
Yes, Rochelle. That's what I said. The act basically very clearly states anything in the workplace. Okay, for any vendor who walks in or any person who walks in, be it even a courier person or a pizza delivery person who walks in. Same with the candidate who walks into your interview, because the candidate has been called for the interview in your office. That's the reason why the person is in your office. Okay, so they are free to raise a complaint with your organization's internal committee. So the question also continues, right, Bhumika? So I think the question, the second part of it says, what company do to educate interviewers and what steps should ICC take to conclude? Part of the same question?
So right. You can go ahead with this question.
Yeah. So basically, yes. The interviewer, what basically what kind of right questions that they can ask, because there's a thin line basically from what is right and what is wrong. The kind of personal questions, if it is required, or any gender-specific questions, maternity-based questions, and all are something that's definitely to be avoided. So it's not just your HR who do the interviews, but even your project managers or managers, team leads who do the interview. It's very essential that they know what to ask, what not to ask. There have been cases that people have just walked off. Actually, one of my clients actually, in fact, she said that she arrived in an interview and she actually walked off. She didn't want to take that kind of questions that she was put to. Right? Something very important to educate interview or managers basically on what kind of questions they should ask. And the second question is, how should ICC, what steps should ICC committee take to conclude, right? So in this case, pretty for the ICC committee, because the person complainant is not part of your employee, it's not your employee basically. So all investigations and inquiries are to be sent to the complainant to come and be present for the inquiry. So I think coordination is required, but since the person has raised the complaint, it has to be taken to closure. And
Thank you so much. Yeah, sorry.
Sorry to add on. Best practices some organizations follow is that for any abuse, it's never done as a one-on-one, basically. It's always 3 people present, ask the question. So that way it's like kind of a team effort rather than just one-on-one who sit in a room, locked room. Right?
Right. Thank you so much for that answer. I'll move on to the next question. It is from Ambili, and wants to know how much of the law covers men. She has questions that the law is more biased towards women. Is there any statistics around this?
Hey, Ambili, nice to have you here. So basically, CalPECHA did a survey end of 2016, and we realized that 22% were victims basically to sexual harassment at workplace. Okay, so if 100 employees, at least 22 which were there who have undergone sexual harassment at any point of their career, age group 20 to 35. And of that, 2% are actually men who underwent, who were the victims on this particular case. Okay, and there were actually 9% overall victims, men and women, who went harassment more than 3 times. But then also who are impacted by this, it's also more difficult for them to raise the case with the way the society perceives, basically. Okay, there are men who actually raise it. There are a lot of organizations who have made their policy gender neutral over now the law, though the law is specific to women. Organizations have gone and made it gender neutral, and the law over the policy will supersede the law. And we recommend everyone to keep it gender neutral so that there is an equal opportunity for everyone basically in the organization. And there are other people who actually organizations who say that no, we go by the books, by the law for the compliance. But there's another kind of argument that goes which says that as per the General Clauses Act, in even women includes men basically as per the General Clauses Act. So that act definition, if you're going to use that act, then in this case, those definitions of sexual harassment for women, so women also means men as per General Clauses Act. Some organizations who safely and do it gender neutral. I hope I answered your question.
Thank you so much. I will move on to the next question. We have a flood of questions coming in, and this question is by Nayan. He wants to know if there is a prevention of sexual harassment complaint against the MD, then will the ICC investigate, or would it be done by local complaints committee at the district level, which is set up by the state government?
So definitely, ICC has to take it up because it is basically part of your internal your organization thing. So the district, the local committee is basically for unorganized sectors or organizations which have less than 10 employees, or organizations where ICC is not set up. That's where the MPs can go and complain to the NCC. Whereas there have been a lot of cases that come up against the CISOs or the MD. And that's another reason why when ICC committee is formed, we typically recommend that do not include anyone from the management to be part of the committee, or HR should not be part of the committee. Okay, so this is a standalone group, and have a third-party person in this committee. The third person plays a very major role because the third party is not impacted by who the respondent is going to be. Even be it MD, the third party person does not really that does not impact the third party person. So they ensure there's a natural SIR and the natural law of justice takes place. It has to be by the internal committee.
Okay, thank you for that answer. I have the next question from Pallavi, and this is a specific incident that she's quoting, and she would want your opinion on this. She says that on the eve of Women's Day, one of the colleagues was made to stay back and complete. She was in the office and completing her work when a senior person comes up to her and asks her why she's sitting late. And one of her managers jumps in and says that I'm empowering her on Women's Day. What is your take on this statement that the manager made for this particular woman who stayed back?
Kind of tricky case. You need to typically analyze the context, the between the whole team members, and the organization culture and everything. I think everything has to be looked in perspective, and then only we can kind of understand what basically respond to this kind of question.
Right. I hope Pallavi is able to.
So Pallavi, and in our sessions, we actually typically go and say, though we say that it's going to be safe workplace and all those things, the point is we should not be taking the fun out of workplace. It's not that one policy is there. It's not that men and women, they should not be talking to each other. They can't shake hands. That's not the point. The fun element should be there. We should understand the whole context, the sexual connotation, the tone. That will really be concerned. The language, everything has to be factored in, right? That's the cause of concern. Then definitely can be raised to the next level. Or
right. So
in the first level. Right.
Yeah,
exactly.
please go ahead.
And in the first instance, if you're not really sure, then just probably confront the person. Always recommend go and confront the person and tell them that you're liking that kind of comments. The person wasn't that it's kind of impacting you. Okay, attention may not be there, but it does impact you. And instead of always going and raising first instance, taking it to the ICC, not stops you from taking it to the ICC, but it is better to solve it, the confronting in the first case, so the other person actually knows that you're not liking it, so the message is very clear. Issues, basically. You have something?
So, Pallavi, clearly, empowering her as a woman, what construed that person to say that way, but in hearing it, as a statement, as an individual statement, doesn't have any sexual connotation, right? So very clearly, it is not a sexual harassment case. Okay. Now, there has been some background, and I would want to withdraw the statement. So that is one. Second, very important is, was she impacted? I mean, did she uncomfortable? Did she raise it to you? Then definitely a harassment committee can sit and discuss this with her. Also, like what Vijay said, there is an environment within the organization. It's the second family we go up to. And there has been a life note conditions that we raise. Otherwise, we won't be able to work for 9-10 hours in the organization, right? So all these have to be taken into consideration also. But definitely, if it is a sexual connotation to it, it has to be addressed by ICC.
Thank you so much, Smita and Vijay. Yeah, if you want to continue on the answer, please go ahead.
No, that is done. I think Pallavi should be okay. If she is not, then please ask her to write to us one-on-one. We can discuss it.
Sure, definitely. Thank you so much for the answer. I'll move on to our next question by Ashish. He has written, if something happens outside the office premises between a male and a female employee, but at the client's place, so which employer should be held responsible to initiate, inquire, and investigate?
It's a joint effort of both the organizations. So generally, if a man harassed a woman would go and report it to her organization, right? I mean, let me rephrase this question. the employees are from a particular organization and they are at a client location. So that's the case. So the victim and the respondent are sitting at client location. They'll be reaching out to their primary employer. But is also we also keep the client involved happen in their premises, because they would need maybe evidences like CCTV footage, phone conversations, maybe, all those things. For that, they would need the help of the client also. So to involve them, they can report it to their primary employer.
Yeah, I think that should help Ashish with his question. We are almost out of time, but we would take one last question before we finish. This is from Saurabh. He's saying that there's too much awareness about the sexual harassment program and a lot of discussions happening, which ultimately lead to a lot of false cases as well. How do you prevent these false cases?
Honestly, Saurabh, it is very difficult for any woman or man to go up to IC and report a complaint. I don't know if any of y'all have, I'm sure, has gone for police station and made a complaint. Trust me, IC is equivalent. It is daunting, okay? And there could be, I'm not saying there are no false complaints. There are many false complaints. Statistics shows there are around 10% of false complaints, which is big number. Okay. Now, how do we educate people? Clearly, if this comes in, I think I have said that in my webinar also. It comes in your figure. If it is because of malicious intent, make a study of it, publish it back to the organization saying that such cases were reported and such severe actions were taken. Okay. And I think this shouldn't deter the victim or the complainant to come and to IC and report genuine cases, because I think there's a lack of evidence. The application should be crystal. Okay? Any such community should not act as deterrent to the genuine cases. But resolve it and publish it back to the organization. I think it works beautifully. We have done that in past. Okay? And employees have taken cognizance of that.
Thank you so much for this answer. Now, Smita and Viji, if you would like, we can go ahead with playing the video, or we can go ahead with taking up the questions.
I will go ahead with the questions, Bhumika.
Sure, okay. So I'll move on to my next question. This is Ashish again. He is saying, what are the steps a lady should follow in case she is not satisfied with the resolution provided by ICC?
Okay, so here, when you say lady, I'm assuming it's the complainant that we are talking about. So what the Act say very clearly is that either complainant or the respondent, they both have equal rights. Go ahead further appeal within 60 days. Date of recommendation that has been given. So if some are not happy with the recommendations given by the internal committee, they can definitely appeal either with the employer or the management organization, or take it to the court. These are the two options that they do have to further appeal, or the other alternative is definitely, of course, FIR with the police. And there have been
Thank you for the answer.
Gone to, so I'll just add on, there have been a lot of cases that have gone to the court also. And so in some of the cases, the courts have stood by what the ICC has. In case the ICC has actually followed the procedures by having the right third party, the documentation, everything. There have been cases in the court, completely moved in the court as well, saying that ICC has done a perfect job. They've followed all the rules and guidelines, and they've actually dismissed the bill as well. So it depends on how long the cable and the evidences that you have. Definitely would suggest you to appeal it further in case you have issues.
This is what Vijay just said. So that makes IC's role very, very critical. Able to investigate as per the steps mentioned, follow each and every process, document it, have all the evidences. Tomorrow, when it goes to the court, all your documents are in place. It's very important. That's why it becomes very important for ICs to be trained to cut such investigation and do report writing very clearly. Yeah.
Right. Thank you so much for the answer, Vijay and Smita. The next question is from Shiksha Kohli. She wants to know, what is the limit of an aggrieved woman to give a complaint?
Within 3 months of limit.
Do you want me to repeat the question?
I'll respond to that, Bhumika. Because she thinks
Sure.
that within what period can the complainant file a complaint concerning harassment? So within 3 months of the last occurred event. Within that 90 days, she has to report as per the law. Okay?
Okay. Thank you so much for the answer. Right. Thank you so much. The time's almost up, and we have a lot of questions unanswered, yes, and we can send them to Vijay and Smita, and you can take them up offline.
Well,
That would be nice.
Right. Thank you so much for your time and sharing the great insights on a very sensitive topic on prevention of sexual harassment. We are going to wrap up our today's webinar, and we would like to thank our webinar partner, KELP HR. Special thank you to our speakers, Vijay and Smita, for this webinar and invaluable information that you have shared with us today. I also like to thank everybody in the webinar audience for participating in today's presentation. Stay tuned for many more such exciting sessions. This concludes our today's webcast. Thank you so much, everybody, and have a great day.
Thank you.